Error-based SQL injection. Well, an error-based SQL injection occurs when you are able to trigger certain bug in the product which leads to some errors, and you have the ability to control those errors to extract data. In the following screen, you can see that I was able to create an error which is about a duplicate entry in the group key. But in this error, you can see I was also able to extract the version number of the database name, and the user of the database. This is what an error-based SQL injection is all about. Now, as I just said, this depends on the product and a bug in that product. You can see that this version is 5.1.7. Let me show you a page. Here you can see 5.7.14. So I'm using a much older version on that website. However, this bug ID 82544, this bug is valid in all the latest versions in 2020 as well. It was published in 2016, but even after 4 years, this has not been patched. And looking at the history, I don't think so it's going to be patched soon. So the bug is about a duplicate entry in the group key while doing a group by clause. If you go ahead and scroll down, you will see that you can create this error by selecting something, counting it, concatenating the stuff with ran function, concatenating with floor function from certain table, and grouping it by some value. Sounds complicated, right? Don't worry, I'll break all of this for you. So I'm going to show you all of this in my test environment. I do have the following databases. I will use X for this specific test. There is just one table in this database called users. In this specific table, there is one column called name, and there are 3 rows: Sagar, Alice, Bob. Now this error occurs when we are able to associate a random pattern. For that, the first step is to associate a random value for each of the results. To do that, we use the ran function. As you can see, when I select this column, which is name, it returns 3 rows, but I also selected a random function which is creating 3 random values in front of these. Since it is a random function, anytime I create this again and again, it'll create all new values. You can see when I type this again, all the values have changed. If I type it once more, all the values have changed again. These values are completely generated random, and they will range from 0 to 1. The next step to trigger this bug is to control the output of the random function. But I just told you it's completely random. You can use a seed value. Here I will put a seed value like 0. Now once I put a seed value, the result will always be same. This is what comes when I run it once. This is what comes when I run it twice. This is what comes when I run it thrice. You can see all the times it's generating the same 3 values. Now the next step is to create a duplicate entry. But my question is, do you think this number has any probability to come on this place or on this place? These are billions of combinations, so the probability of this is almost impossible. For that, we will use a rounding function. Let me tell you how that works. So in the following example, I just added a round function on top of our ran function. Hence, it is rounding the values to the closest, 0 or 1. And now there is a 100% probability that our value will repeat, and there will be a duplicate entry since it will always be 0, 1, 1. It doesn't matter how many times I try this, it will always be 0, 1, 1. You can see it never changes. Now that we are able to generate random values which are still controlled by us, and we know that it's going to create 0, 1, 1, and this one is a duplicate entry of the above one, we can use the group by clause. Now you can see when I use group by and a round rand, the results are not 3 but rather 2, because this Bob is also having the value of 1 and Alice is also having the value of 1, hence they have been grouped together. Finally, to trigger the bug, we just need to put having min 0. And you can see duplicate entry 1 for the key group key. That's the bug. Another approach which the official guide says, instead of putting having min, you can put count. So the count will come here. And if I remove the having thing, it will still trigger the bug because bug is coming from count. Now this may sound interesting that this count is able to create the bug, but it's almost useless when using error-based injections. The reason is that most of the times this select something from something statement is locked and we can only modify this part. Just to give you an example, it may be select name from users where name equals Sagar, and then we can modify the group by round function. You can see this is a standard database query. Select name from users where name equals, and we put this name in some search box. The problem of this is it is always going to give you one result. However, we need at least 3 results for this bug to trigger. Hence we can put or 1 equal 1 to nullify this where statement. So think about it. Select name from users where name equals Sagar or 1 equal 1. Which is always true, hence it will select all the names giving the whole table. As you can see, it dumps the whole table. So now we can put our group by rand having min equals 0. And this triggers the bug. And this is the final output which we want as our payload. So I can copy this. I can go on this website. And you can see it normally takes a parameter called cat. When it gives a parameter called cat, it comes up with all these images. If I give a parameter of cat equals 2, you can see it comes up with only one result. So let me try to bypass this one. Cat equals 2. Since we already have or 1 equal 1, this will bypass the situation of cat and it will give us all the rows in the table and it will group them by rand function having min equals 0. I'll put a comment here to ignore the other stuff. And you can see we get the error. Duplicate entry 1 key group key. This 1 is the result of our duplicate entry and it's the result of our rand function, which is over here. So can we use it to extract data? Of course. Let me show you that how we can do it. Now you can see what I just did is I did a select name round rand and then I did a concat version round rand. So the output of round rand is 0, 1, 1, which you can see over here 0, 1, 1, and I concatenated this with the version of the application. Hence you can see, since the version is constant and round rand is changing, we still have a perfect duplicate copy of 2 and 3. These are perfect duplicates because the version is constant and this part is changing. Hence, in the same way, we can concatenate whatever we want and we can extract data. A good example here will be you can see we got the database version, then we got X, which is the database name, as you can see over here. Then we got root at the localhost, which is the user. We can even put spaces in between. And this will just make it easier for us to identify that this is one thing, this is second, and this is third, and this is finally the rand. So I can just take this whole concatenation string here and put it instead of this round rand function. And we got the version number, the database name, and the user at the localhost. That is how error-based SQL injection works, and this is how we exfiltrate data through error-based SQL injections.